Welcome to the Nobody Guide to Life, where we provide tips and tools for personal growth, personal development, and your spiritual journey that you can use right now in your everyday life. I'm J.A. Plosker. You can always find out more at thenobodyguidetolife.com. Thank you for joining us. So self-discipline. We don't usually love the phrase self-discipline because it often means using restraint, right? It usually means giving up something you love or really like, either because it isn't good for you or for others. But what if a little self-discipline in your life could improve your actual quality of life? Maybe it would be worth pursuing, right? Well, today's guest has written a book about what she says are proven self-discipline techniques for a healthier lifestyle, including meditation, diet change, and positive thinking. Georgia Woodbine is a personal and professional development expert and motivator. She has over 15 years of entrepreneurial business success in management, promotions, and marketing. Georgia says she is in love with life, and she enjoys being an empowerment advocate for others to find their true purpose. Her passion continues to touch countless souls in their pursuit of happiness. She's authored several books, including How to Attract the Right Man into Your Life, How to Make Big Bucks Without Selling Your Soul, Jewels of Inspiration and Reflections, How to Choose Your Career Path, Minute of Motivation, and more. And her new book, Total BS, Body and Soul, seeks to continue her mission by helping people experience more joy as they learn to create the lifestyle they want while getting fit, feeling good, and finding balance and inner peace. In her book, you'll learn groundbreaking methods to keep yourself motivated, to lose weight, retrain your thought patterns to get results, gain inner peace through meditation, and improve your overall health and lifestyle. Welcome to the show, Georgia.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And I was looking through your website, and you say something on your website that you reinvented yourself. So how did you do that? What was your journey of personal and spiritual growth? What led you down this path of reinvention?
Well, I can tell you, there were many stages in my life where I was searching. And sometimes I believe that all of us as human beings, when we're searching, we think certain things can fill that void, whether it be a relationship, a career, more money,
Right.
Anything. So I believe that once I really started digging deep, trying to find myself, I was going through all kinds of transitions in my life. It was
Right.
very, very painful. And I always tell people, when you ask for something, or when you really want something, or if you focus on something, you're going to get it.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if it's not the way you're expecting, and it may not go the way you want, but you can always get what you have once you put your mind to it and say, this is the change that I want.
Right.
And it's sometimes it's not as easy as you think. So in my life, I was a single mom. I remember being very stressed out of my job, and I wanted change so bad, but I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. And I remember having a dream, and it was more like a vision, because in this dream, I'm sitting in a dark room with my palms open, and it's pouring raining outside, and it's so dark, and I'm looking out this window, and I'm in this room alone, and I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden it starts to get sunny outside, because in the beginning of the dream I could sense the fear that I was feeling of being alone,
Right.
not knowing what was going to happen next. And then as I stare outside the window, as I calm myself down, I look outside, I see it start to get really bright and sunny outside. And I'm looking up in the sky, and I see like this form figure I see like a mountain going up into the sky, and
Right.
I see a form figure sitting on top. I don't see a face. I just see the form figure. And then I get a letter, and then I see the hand extend a letter to me. And as I open the two palms of my hand, I look at the letter. It was like on yellow sheet lined paper.
Right.
And it said, do not fret nor worry. Everything that you're going through right now is a test to make you stronger. I will grant you the desires of your heart. And I can remember that was the first time in my entire life that I ever remembered a dream. Because How many times do you have dreams? And it's like, I don't even remember what I dreamed about yesterday.
Right.
Like, what was I doing? But this was such a powerful dream. And I say it's a dream, but it was really a vision, because it was really about all the different things that was going on in my life, and that I wanted change so bad. And when I got to that point, it was like I had to change the way I was thinking about life. I had to change the words that I was speaking out into the universe. You know
Right.
what I mean? And
Right.
sometimes people don't realize the power of words. They'll say things and it's like, oh, it's no big deal. But no, everything that comes out of your mouth is creating energy. It's creating something is attached to that. And so I had to learn on that journey. I remember I couldn't sleep. Oh my gosh. It was like something was bugging me saying, write this book, write this book. And I was like, I'm not writing this book. I don't know how. I don't know where to start. I've never written a book before. And something was like, I could not sleep. It was keeping me up at night. And it was like the spirit was just tugging me, write this book, write this book. And it happened to be a 10-year journal that became my first book. And that was really, I would say, the beginning of my transition. I think my mindset was already there, but everything started to take form once I started really paying attention to it. And so, you know, one of the things that I share with people is don't be afraid of change. I think that when you resistance, that is the where you feel most pain, because you're wanting change, and change could be maybe a new relationship or a new job or something new that you're not used to or that you haven't experienced. Don't resist it, because the more you resist it, the more pain you're going to feel.
Right.
You know, the more you try to control, you know, as human beings, we always want to be in control of every aspect of our lives. Everything that happens, we want to be in full control. But sometimes things are out of your control. Sometimes things happen that you can't control, and you have to learn how you're going to respond to those things. So one of the things that I teach too is like, you know, I remember I was in an interview and we were talking about, you know, my background and how I became spiritual. And I said, well, you know, I grew up in the church, but no one teaches you how to deal with pain. No one can teach you that. That is something that you can only learn through your own individual experiences to build your strength and to build your faith and to build your beliefs and whatever it is that gives you that peace of mind. So, you know, that's where I got started with the whole journey of writing the book, and, you know, just all the things that I used to keep in my little journal. You know what I mean? I didn't know I was a writer. That's one of the things I tell people, like, you know, they say, oh, I don't know what my gift is. I don't know what my passion is. I don't know what I should be doing with my life. It's something you have already been using. It's something that you've been operating in that thing, that passion. You've been doing it already.
Right.
So that is your gift. That is your passion, the thing that gives you that sense of fulfillment. And I think sometimes people search far, but it's always within. It's always right in front of you. It's looking you in the mirror. This is what you need to change your life. Everything you need to change your life, you already have inside of you.
You know, Georgia, that's been so much my message too. You know, I wrote a book called The Nobody Bible about how wisdom is right here. It's right in the life you're living. And so the journal at the side of your bed, maybe the patience you have with your children, maybe it's the way that you love to do crafts or the way you connect with nature. Something you're doing, I love how you said that, something you're doing right now in your life is connecting you to your wisdom, is already helping you tap into that source power. I love that. I think that's a fantastic point.
Yes, yes. I mean, this latest book that I wrote, which is so funny because I've written several books, but this goes right back to the first book. It's like total BS, body and soul.
Right.
What are the things that's going to make you happy? And, you know, total BS is about finding one's true self, you know, peeling away life's preconceived notions of who we think we are.
Right.
And removing those layers of self-doubt that prevent us from living in our highest potential, whether it's mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, all of the above. It's about tapping into that so you can have a healthier and healthier lifestyle, because part of being healthy is also having a healthy mindset.
Right.
You can't change what you don't confront.
Right.
And that's one of the things I always talk about. People say, I want change, but you can't confront change and say you want to be wealthy if you're still in debt and you're not changing your relationship with money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Spending mindlessly, you know, not paying attention to what you're spending and saying, I want to be this, but you have to work with what you have right now. And I always tell people, don't be so upset about your circumstance right now, because things, you can change that. You know what I mean? When you lose life, you can't change that because you're gone. But once you have life, and once you're still living, and once you're still breathing, it does not matter whatever is going on in your life. You can always move beyond it. You can always move beyond it. So focus on living in your present and not fretting about your future and worrying about your past, because I think that because the way our mind works is when you experience something in your past, you hold on to that. And it's like, you don't want to feel that again, so you don't take risks, or you don't want to feel that pain again, so you won't make better decisions, or you don't want to feel that pain again. So it's something that's making you go back to that pain and say, I don't want to change something because I don't want this to happen. And
Right.
then it becomes like a monopoly effect, because if you don't start changing your habits, and the things that you're doing daily, that's what's going to contribute to your future. See, people don't realize that what you do daily is contributing to what your future is going to look like.
Right. No, that's absolutely true. And what were you, so you mentioned that you were having some real pressure points at the time that that dream came to you. What were some of the things that were going on with you, and how did you, using these principles, how did you emerge from that stronger? How did you find your purpose and change your life out of those circumstances?
Well, during that time, I was going through job transition. I was going through financial problems, just a lot of different things that was going on. I was going through some physical issues with my
Right.
health. So I think those are mainly the hot points that get people to really start digging deeper. I think once you're confronted with some kind of dramatic change in your life that you have no control over, it forces you to start thinking differently. It's
Right.
almost like your back has to be against the wall before you start to look at things differently. Because if everything's going great and you're continuing doing the things the way you've been doing, you have no reason to start to confront yourself. You have no reason to start digging deeper within self.
Right.
It's usually something that happens that makes you say, okay, I need to look at myself and what is it within me that I need to change.
Right.
And it's not always just other people, but it's also you. And when you go back to the dream where you said, what was it that got me on this journey to transition in my life? And it's really my mindset. Once I decided, and it's always a choice, you know what I mean?
Right.
We all have the freedom of choice. And once you make that choice that you want something to change in your life and you make a commitment to it, then you will start to be exposed to things that's going to let you become more aware of what's going on around you. So once I said, I really want change, and I committed to it, I started to do things differently. I started to change my habits. I started to set goals. I started setting goals. I started to meditate. I started to do all these little actions that people can do because they think, oh, I want more money to change my life. But these are things that you could do right now without money, right?
That's
These are
right.
little things that you can do right now that can change that financial situation for you down the line. So one of the things was the meditation, which was really big for me because I didn't know the power of meditation. No one ever taught me how to meditate. It's something I tapped into. I might have read an article about it, and I said, you know what, let me try to do this. And so I've been doing it for like over 10 years, maybe close to 15 years now. And that is a big piece that transformed my life, because once you start to meditate, you start to evolve on a higher level and you start to see things differently.
Right.
You start to do things differently. Your energy is so different. I always say, like, people say they want change, and sometimes there's people in your life that you have to remove yourself from for
Yes.
the change to happen.
Yes.
It's like people saying, oh, I want to take this wonderful vacation. I'm going to take all this luggage with me and I'm going to get on this plane. But you know what? The plane won't take off if you're taking all this luggage because it's too heavy.
Right.
So if you want to take off to that place that you feel that's going to give you that joy, that peace, that happiness, that fulfillment, you have to leave some of that luggage behind and you got to start fresh.
Right. You have to take a step. I love your message because it so much aligns with the whole purpose of this show, which is, start right here. If you want millions of dollars, if you want to create wealth in your life, you're not just going to walk into a bank and they're going to hand you wealth. It, like you said so well, it starts with managing your daily spending habits, maybe getting one less coffee a week. If you
Right.
want to make that great change to find a new relationship, you may have to let other relationships go, because your message
Correct.
is very much about doing the hard work. And
Correct.
I love that. And that really leads me to this. I really want to know, in your book then, in Total BS, how do you then walk us through these steps? How do you present us this path that can help us create that life we want?
Well, I talk about the 7 habits to get fit for life
Okay.
in the book, which is, it's not, total BS is not just about changing the way you look physically. It's
Right.
also about changing your mindset. So I talk about the 7 habits, which is, once you start to develop healthy habits, it requires commitment, discipline, and patience.
Right.
And to create a balanced and healthy lifestyle is not just about diet or exercise. It's about having a positive mindset and a healthy self-image. So to improve your life, to experience more happiness, more peace, more fulfillment, these are some of the things that help me to get on this journey where I can live in my passion, do what I love, get paid to do what I love, and live in fulfillment and feel
Right.
good about why I wake up every morning. So one of the things that I share is setting goals. Setting goals and deciding what you want to achieve and create a plan. I always say, out of sight, out of mind. You could start to set small goals for yourself. And once you start to set goals for yourself and set an action plan, and you achieve this one goal, then you can start to set bigger goals for yourself.
Right. Right.
Another thing, the other thing I talk about is the importance of getting rest. People don't realize that your sleep is so important.
Right.
When you don't get sleep, you're frustrated, you're angry, you can't make decisions, you're tired. So getting more rest and getting more sleep should be a priority. Most people say, okay, I don't sleep for 8 hours, but even if you can sleep for 7 hours a night or 6, because the average person probably don't even sleep 8 to 10 hours a night. You know what I mean?
Right.
So a good night rest it helps to reduce stress. It decreases your appetite, it increases productivity. And when you don't get enough sleep, everything else suffers. Right. So that's why it's important to get rest. Another thing I point out in the 7 habits to get fit for life is prioritize your life. Prioritize your life and have a mission statement for your life. Most people talk about, companies have mission statements. You should have a mission statement for your life.
Right.
My mission statement is when I get up in the morning, I look in that mirror and I say to myself, I, Georgia Woodbine, am here to empower, motivate, and inspire 1 million plus people to change their mindsets, to change their life, to live in their highest and fullest potential. So what does this mean for Georgia Woodbine? This means that everything that I do, I attach myself with, has to tie into that mission statement for my life.
Right.
And when you have a mission statement, you have a why, it makes your life flow so much easier. Right. Because you know what your motive is and you know why you're doing what you're doing. Right. So setting priorities. And also, like a lot of times people are always like a yes person. Like if somebody says they need this or they need that, it's like, and that causes so much stress when you don't use the magic word of no.
Very well said.
That's a magic word. People don't know that magic word. Sometimes you have to say no. You have to learn how to, don't allow others to monopolize your time if it's not aligned with your happiness and your values and your purpose. When you learn to manage your life effectively with your family, your friends, your career, your business, your health, fitness, you won't feel like everything in your life is a constant chore.
Right.
So that's very important. One of the other things I talk about as well in the book is speaking positive affirmations, how powerful that is. And that was one of the things that helped me as well, is positive self-talk. What it does is it motivates you and it encourages you to attain your goals. So it helps you to change your perspective and it reinforces positive thinking. And then what it does is it helps you deal with negative circumstances and make better decisions. So speaking positive affirmations to yourself, just finding that time of day, early in the morning, it's a few minutes a day, find something positive to say and just reaffirm it and say it as like a habit. Say it multiple times, whatever it is. And because what happens is people don't realize when you continue to say something, you internalize it in your brain. That's how the mind works. Once you internalize something, it becomes now an action. So this is why when I talk about creating the life you love, and I remember somebody asked me and said, explain to me what you mean when you say, Georgia, that we're all deliberate creators. I say we're all deliberate creators because every thought that we have creates an action.
Right.
So whether it's getting up in the morning, brushing your teeth, trying to figure out what you're going to wear, you think about what you're going to put on before you put it on, right? And then you put it on and then you walk out the door and you have this on. That's just like anything else you want to achieve in your life or any other vision you have for your life. Once you put it in your mindset and you set this goal and you take the daily actions that you need to take, and you speak positive affirmations, and you prioritize your life, and you get your sleep and your rest, you're in a better position now to create whatever it is you want to create.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's so important, Georgia, because I think even walking through a crowd, all of us have a connection energetically. Whether we believe it or not, it's there. So when you walk around in a mall or you people watch, sometimes you can just see or feel whose energy is really scattered and who's here and who's there. And you're so right, because if we can get our own energy and our own life into alignment, then we're calmer, we're more peaceful, we're less reactive and more proactive. We can choose our time, we can choose our place to act. And I love what you're saying, because it really is, what you give is really a recipe for success. By being rested, by meditating and staying calm, by changing our diet, by making deliberate choices about where we're going to put our time and who we're going to spend our time with, we turn the noise dial in our life down a little bit in the chaos, and then we can really hear what life is saying to us. I love that. I think this is a really, I think this Total BS program sounds like it's a really comprehensive way of helping people to really tap into that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because people think it's so far-fetched, and it's really
Right,
not.
right.
It's really not. Once you, like I said, make that commitment and say, you know what, I'm willing to learn another way of doing things. Okay, I'm not used to it. I've never been exposed to it. I don't know much about it. I haven't practiced it, but let me just try it.
Yes.
Just try it. Try it. I guarantee you. Look at me. I am a proven example. I mean, I was at that stressful job I hated. I was going home. You know what I mean? And my life has transformed. I'm able to do what I love, and I'm able to help other people. And I think at the end of the day, too, that people have to know their motive. You know, your motive can't just be about making more money.
Right.
It has to align with how it's going to help other people. When you can learn to solve a problem for yourself, and then once you solve that problem for yourself, take those answers and share it with other people so that they can solve their problems, that is the recipe for success.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Georgia, how have you seen this play out in life for people you know, or, because I know you do a lot of coaching, you do a lot of speaking. How have you seen this plan working for people? What have you been hearing from out there in the world that's been coming back to you about the effectiveness of this?
Well, and you know what's so funny, because I said, they say you should always try to impact the people closest to you before you say you want to change the entire world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you can't impact your friends and your families and those close to you, and you're talking about you want to change the whole universe and you want to reach people in Africa, you got to start where you are.
Right.
So I see the people that I coach, even my own friends and family members. I see people that I coach, and they tell me, you know what, Georgia, I just started paying attention to, because I would tell people, okay, every time you say something negative, give yourself $1 and tell me how much money you've collected at the end of the week. Like every time you use a negative word that comes out of your mouth, whether it's about you or someone else, give yourself $1 and tell me how much money you have at the end of the week. And then people are like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize I was using so much negative words.
Yeah.
And it makes such a huge difference. I see people tell me, oh, you know what, George, I've changed the way that I, my daily habits. Like I start writing my goals down, and I'm seeing that I am accomplishing the things that I want to accomplish,
right,
because I'm starting to. So it like we said, it's really about habits, changing your habits and changing your mindset. And you can change anything else you want to change. Once you change your mindset, that's all you need to work on first. So stop thinking that you need all this other materialistic things to make the change happen, because if the change is not within, whether you get those things or not, it's not going to last. And you're not going to find that true peace, and that true happiness, and that true fulfillment. And only true happiness, peace, and fulfillment comes once you find your passion, once you find your purpose, and once you use those things to impact the lives of others. Now that is truly a rich life.
It's true. It's true. And we don't measure that. We don't measure that in money piled up, or the amount of times we show up in the newspaper. You're right. It's there is I believe, there is a tally out there, and it's beyond our ability necessarily to figure out, but it's all seen. And we just need to be that conduit of it. We just need to bring that change to people, to bring that message to people.
Absolutely, absolutely. I always tell people, we all have superpowers. You just got to
Yes,
figure out what your superpower is. It's not
absolutely.
like God created us all the same. It's not like, oh, you have this power, that power. We all have powers. The powers are our gifts. They're all different. They're not the same, but we still have the ability to make change with those gifts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Georgia, I think you've probably answered it a million times already, but there's just so much here. But so, what's a tip or tool that you can give us that can help us right now on our journeys of personal and spiritual growth that we can use right this minute?
Right this minute would be the meditation piece that I talked about, and trying to take out 5 minutes out your day. Start doing it small, I can sit and meditate for hours because I've mastered it. I've done it for over 15 years.
Right.
But if you're just starting, you might be a little intimidated because you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So you sit in a quiet place, drink a glass of water before you start, sit in a quiet place, take deep breaths because it's really about the breathing. So
Right.
you have to breathe in and out. Inhale. Exhale, do it again. Do it like 2 or 3 times. And then once you start doing that, then you just close your eyes, open the palms into your hands. Some people meditate different ways. I like to keep my palms open because I like to receive what's coming to me.
Right.
So I like to keep my palms open. And just like try not to think about what you did yesterday, what you have to do tomorrow, what you have to do next week. And just kind of like take it a step at a time. And for some people that might be hard. So I always recommend maybe try to put some soundscapes on. Listen to some nature sounds, whatever it is, listen to waterfalls or birds singing or whatever it is, jazz music, whatever it is that can give you that classical music, can give you that calmness,
Right.
to calm your mind. Start with that. Maybe you need that little aid at first until you can start to do it on your own without those things. But practice doing it 5 minutes a day. Just start doing it 5 minutes a day. Then you can gradually grow up to, 10 minutes, then 15 minutes, then a half an hour, then once a day, then twice a day. But start out doing it just 5 minutes. And I guarantee you could do it in your car, pull over, park somewhere in a parking lot, just for a few minutes. Just breathe, take deep breaths, and you could even do it with your eyes open too. So, just learn how to control your breathing because it can totally relax your whole body.
Right. And I totally agree with you. I mean, I think I've said before on the show, but over 2 decades ago, the first meditation I ever received from a teacher of mine was to just sit, look at the wall, look at the carpet, close your eyes, and pretend that your breath is your only job. Just pay attention to your breath. Anything that takes you away from that job or distracts you from that job, you gently bring your attention back to your breath and to that space. So
Absolutely.
to hear you talk about that tip, and it's exactly what the Nobody Guide is all about. You don't have to be rich, famous, or ordained to sit still and focus on your breath.
That's right. That's right. That's something that people can put into practice right now. And before we end, I don't know how long the interview is, but I do want to talk about this masterclass that I
Sure.
have.
Yes, absolutely.
Because this is really a great thing that I'm doing now with this masterclass, and it's called How to Turn Your Passion into Profits. And in this masterclass, I'm talking about how to find your gifts, first of all, how to find your gifts. And then once you learn how to find those gifts, how to leverage those gifts and talents and skills. So I teach how to connect the dots, your gifts, your talents, your skills, your natural abilities, and how to pull them all together.
Wow.
And then also strategies to gain focus, clarity through visualization, affirmation, and meditation techniques. And of course, teaching people how to use vision boards to create their outcome, what they're trying to manifest.
Right.
And also I teach about ways to accelerate their learning curves, meaning like whatever it is that they're trying to pursue, what are some of the things that they can do to start to strategize and plan, and how to become more intuitive and tap into manifestation mastery, because that is so powerful. That is so powerful. I don't think a lot of people have tapped into that, but that's something I'm teaching.
Wow.
And ways to, effective ways to build their brand. So, and attract their customers, and knowing who their customers are. Because I think a lot of times people think, oh, I'm going to do this and, show it to everyone. Everyone doesn't want what you have. So
Right.
I talk about right. So I teach people like, this is what you need to do. If you want to turn your passion into profit, these are the things you need to first be able to solve a problem for somebody. That's the first
Right.
thing. And then once you do that, you can connect the dots with your talents, your gifts, your natural ability, and your skills. And that's what I teach in this master class. It's an online class, so people can register. It's entitled "How to Turn Your Passion into Profits," and I do free webinars on the class, so they could always go to my social media page. They could actually, go to the page and log up, register for the free webinar of this online class.
Can they find that at the georgiawoodbine.com?
Yes, they can go to
Okay.
georgiawoodbine.com, and they could also find me on social media, or they could also Google it. They could even type in the title and they'll find information to register for the class.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That sounds fantastic. I've been to your site and there's a lot there. And
Thank you.
there's a lot of books and there's a
Hmm.
lot of stuff to explore. So I would
Yes.
definitely recommend it. So
Thank you.
that brings us to the end of this episode of The Nobody Guide to Life. Thank you so much, Georgia, for all of your insights and for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's such a pleasure.
And I want to remind our listeners, discipline isn't a negative. It's a word that reminds us that instead of putting our energies into thoughts and activities that drain or harm us, instead, we can hold back from those potentially destructive patterns and put our energy into more positive things, the things that George has been talking about: meditation, healthy habits. Self-discipline is a skill and it takes practice, but the results are worth it. You can find Georgia's book, Total BS, Body and Soul, on Amazon, as well as her website, georgiawoodbine.com. The links will be in our show notes at thenobodyguidetolife.com. And you can always check out more episodes at thenobodyguidetolife.com. Reach out to us on Twitter and Facebook at Nobody's View, or now on Instagram at J.A. Plosker, or join the Facebook community, Simple Spirituality. If you liked what you heard on this episode, please consider sharing it with someone you know, someone you think could use it. Keep practicing and have a good week.